G'day everybody, happy Fatwood Friday. Gonna do a fire for everybody. My condolences for your troops and all the people who died in Afghan. Yeah, so anyway, today I'm gonna show you this knife here. It's just a cheap marbles thing. It's like a Bowie, pretty decent size marbles Bowie. It's the Mr555. It's a made in Pakistan thing. Leather ring handles. It's definitely a cheapie, you know. And I processed all my fatwood before with this. I just used the spine to make some fine curls. Hopefully, I did test it. It seems to throw some sparks, but it's not the best in the world. But anyway, we'll give it a shot. I used this when I first bought this. The first night I got it, I wailed into some into a grevillea tree in my front yard, and I was very disappointed in this thing. It didn't chop very well, and the factory edge barely cut paper. Anyway, I put it away until I got my Lansky sharpening system. Then I put an edge on it. It's not bad, it cut paper. How well it would shave, I'm not sure, didn't test that. But it's sat around for about a year or so. And I pulled it out last Sunday, and I was hacking some old tree weed things that we've got here. They're weeds, but they're basically trees. So did a load to the tip, used this for a fair bit of the harvesting on it, and it regained a little bit of something. But what I noticed before is when I was doing some curls, and especially when I was holding I was using a pallet fatwood again. When I was holding the plank from the pallet, and I was pulling the plank or the wood towards me, and even doing this right now in my hand, I can feel that in the handle here there's a little bit of wobble. So the guard's not loose, and that butt cap isn't loose. As you can see, there is no hole there. I'm pretty sure you're going to find that this is going to be a little rat tail down here. I think that, and when I tap it like this, you can actually, just the way it vibrates, I'm pretty sure that this thing is just epoxied on. I think this is a really, really weak setup, and you wouldn't want to do, yeah, you can actually see the rat tang when you look down the edge. Yeah, it's probably only barely over ½ an inch right here, so I imagine it would just taper off very quickly down to here. I think there's just epoxy in there holding that together. There's nothing sticking out the bottom there to show that it's been peened over or anything. So yep, it's a cheap knife. It's definitely not something that you would want to go whaling on in the bush. It's not something that you want to put your life on the line on, but it's big, it's cool, you can polish it up. Looks like a Bowie. It's got a leather sheath. Again, it's the made in Pakistan marbles MR555. Okay, so we'll get to the fire, and then I'll come back and have a quick little chat. Don't even know if this is going to work. It's not real comfortable either. it worked. I'll just get it going. So, happy Fat Wood Friday, everyone. So, what I was going to have a chat about was, haven't put up a video since Sunday, and I've been disappointed yet again with basically knife shops and receiving stuff that I've ordered. So I ordered a brain fart, condor, that's it. I was about to get myself into condors. I thought, okay, here we go, condors are looking really good, I'm just going to buy one every week sort of thing. I was looking through their catalogues, looking online, thinking, yeah, I can see a whole ton of these. I'm going to probably buy half a dozen at least. And I made an order with the shop that I've dealt with a few times. It's where I got my Brachimo from, and I've got other things from them in the past. And I asked them if I could do like a lay-by or a layaway, I think you guys might call it. And they didn't want to take any money from me as a deposit. They just said that they would hold it for 4 weeks. So I said, yep, that's fine, I'll do that. And that was a verbal thing over the phone. About a week later, well actually it was on Monday, so it was probably not even a full week, I rang up to pay in full because I wanted it. But I noticed on their website it was saying that they were all sold out of those. So I rang them up to pay for it, and yep, they've sold it. They told me that they'd put me on a waiting list. They were waiting for a shipment to come in, and they couldn't give me an estimated time of arrival. I thought, that's not good enough. I've already been stuffed around with you guys before. You stuffed me around again, and you want to put me on a waiting list. It's not good enough. And I got off the phone, and that was that. I happen to have a new mate at work. He's come from New Zealand. He's a gunsmith, and he's a custom knife maker. So I've been chatting to him. It's great to have someone I can just talk gun language with, knife language, and we get along great. He was with me when I made the phone call, and he knows that I make videos. He knows that I, have a fairly extensive collection of everything fun. And when I got off the phone, he said, "Stuff wasting your money buying knives, making people rich, etc., etc." He goes, "You have too much shit." He said, "Why don't you invest a little bit of money into some tools and start learning how to make knives, sheaths, start learning crafts and things like that," which is what I'm trying to do here on my channel. And I went home and I thought to myself, okay, well, I've got the opportunity now. I've got a gunsmith, I've got a custom knife maker. He's encouraging me to start making a knife, or to start getting more hands on. So I thought, stuff it, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to stop buying knives. Some of the money that I usually would buy knives with, initially in the start anyway, I'm going to put towards buying tools and equipment to make knives, make sheaths. So this week I've just came back from a leather supplier, and I've got some things to make sheaths now. So hopefully by the end of the weekend, hopefully I'll have my first sheath or two made up. And I'm also going to hopefully have maybe my first knife made up. So at the moment, all I've got is, that's what I've come up with. That's off a circular saw blade. I think it's a 9-inch circular saw blade. It's not really a useful knife as such, but it's also only 2.5mm. Questionable steel. So it's not exactly something that I'm going to make a bushcrafting knife or a bush knife that I'm going to take into the bush when I've got plenty of like premium quality knives. So I thought what I'm going to do with this one is make a gigantosaur. I just went with the absolute biggest thing that I could possibly make with the stock that I had available. So I've cut off the teeth off one side here, and I've left 2 teeth on, thinking that they're tungsten, hard tungsten, so they could be a window breaker if need be, they could be used to scribe, but by accident it's also a bottle opener. Not that I drink, but it's going to be used in the kitchen, and I'm thinking I'll just use this in the kitchen and it can be used as a bit of a pizza cutter or whatever. So for the limited length of blade that I had, I just went with the most ridiculous diameter or curvature of the blade, and believe it or not, if I put the tip down and roll it, it ends up being quite a long cut. I'll probably get about 6 inches of pizza cutting, or you know, whatever I want. And it's just an experiment, it's just freehand. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I know that it's not a practical knife, but I'm just playing, so it gives me a lot of surface area to practice my polishing and all that sort of stuff. And it's actually going to be quite a difficult blade, I believe, to put a bevel on too, so plenty of practicing. Now the other funny thing is, I seen a video this morning from Chuck and Steel, and was it the brick? Sorry, was it the Tops Bob knife or something like that? Anyway, he gave a little mention to us, and he was also talking about putting your thumb on the back of the spine, and why he doesn't recommend it. Yeah, there's certain applications. Well, I am listening, mate, and I'm taking on board everything you're saying, and I'll give it a crack. The funny thing with that is, because of the hole in the middle of the circular saw blade, I was designing this thing around that for putting a thumb choil or a thumb stop or whatever you want to call that on here specifically for this knife, thinking that I can put my thumb on there and roll it. Anyway, that was just a little bit of trivia. So this is the handle that I've got so far. I don't have a vise yet, and I've pretty much spent all my money on the leather making stuff, so I'm probably going to borrow a vise off a friend tomorrow that he said I can use for a few weeks. And I don't have a bandsaw, so I'm going to try and split that. That's probably about 20 mil or 3/4 roughly of an inch diameter, and I really don't trust myself cutting this in half with my little silky saw. All I've used is my silky saw, and I've been just carving it a little bit with some of my knives. So anyway, that little story is to show just to show that I haven't posted anything during the week because I've been researching how to make knives, how to make handles, how to finish them, how to make sheaths, etc, etc, and that's what that's my new little project. On that, saying that, I'm creeping into this world where I'm stuck in, that I take on too many projects and I never finish them. I'm totally aware of it, and I do want to back out of too many projects, concentrate on a few. So I've still got my slingshots to master, which I've still only shot once, and I've got all the components to make a target. So I think this weekend I want the target made. I want to get somewhere with this, and I want to make a sheath or two for a couple of my other knives. Not sure which ones yet. Maybe something that's just got a shitty little plastic sheath or something. So anyway, there's the Bowie. Here's my megalodon sort of saw blade gigantuan thing, and a little bit of what's been happening this week and why I haven't posted anything else. So happy Fat Wood Friday to everybody. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.